Greetings, my little yarnivores. Hope you're doing well today. I have another tutorial just for you. Now, this I call the Kaleidoscope Granny. And as you can see in the center here, we have a granny square. And it is a total of 6 rounds, 2 rounds per color. And then we build off of the sides one at a time to create additional corners. Now I've already done 3 corners to show you where I'm going, and I'm going to show you how to do this last corner here. Now, if you don't know how to do granny squares, I do have a link that I'm going to put into the description box on how to do grannies if you don't already know. And this particular pattern, yes, totally helps if you already know how to do your basic granny. Now, the reason why I did for my initial granny square a total of 6 rounds is because you need an even number of rounds in order to have, see how I have my side here? There's a middle space right here, okay? You need to have a number of spaces, okay, where there is a middle space right smack dab in the middle in order to build up these points. So you can't have an odd number of rounds, okay? Tip number 1. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build out this corner starting from the center and working our way out. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we will go from there. Okay. Okie dokie. So, just so that you know, I'm using a size I crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. This is Red Heart Super Saver, just so you know. All right, so now to start this side, we find the center space, and we are going to go over 3 stitches to the right. So we're actually going into the top of this double crochet here, and we grab our yarn when it's not tangled, and we pull it on up, do a chain, and a single crochet into that same stitch. And that's going to be our anchor. Then into that center space, we do our clusters. So it's 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and then we chain 2 because we're creating a corner, and then we do 3 double crochets. All right. Then we chain 1. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to go into the 3rd stitch once again. So that's 1, 2, 3. So we go into that top of the stitch there with a slip stitch. Okay. So we have an opening here and an opening down here. All right. Gonna need that later. So then we chain 2, 1, 2, and then again into the 3rd stitch. So this chain stitch counts as a stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3. So into the middle stitch here, we do a single crochet stitch. Okay. Then we turn our work, and then we do into this space that we created 2 double crochets to complete our cluster of 3. Then we chain 1. Then we go into this center space here, this corner space, with 3 double crochets, 2, 3, and then we chain 2 because it's a corner. And then we do 3 more double crochets into that same corner space. Then we chain 1. Get some more yarn here. All right, and then into this space here, we're going to do 3 more double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then we chain 1. And then, last but not least, we go 3 stitches to the left. So again, that chain stitch counts as a stitch, 2, 3, and we go into that stitch with a slip stitch. Okay, then we cut our yarn and we pull this up to lock it in place. And we have our 2 rounds. Now we need to switch colors. You can switch colors or you can keep the same color. I like lots of color, as you can see. All right, so I'm going to grab my next color of yarn and we shall continue. Okay, so I've got my next color of yarn. So now, like we did before, we need to go 3 stitches to the right. Okay, so we're in the middle stitch here. So that's 1, 2, 3. So it's the leftmost stitch of this cluster. Is where we're going into. And just like before, we pull up our yarn, do a chain stitch and a single crochet stitch into that stitch to anchor it down. And then make sure that this is semi-tight here. Okay, I also like to hang on to this tail of yarn. And we're going to do 3 double crochets into this space here that we've created. That's 1, 2, and 3. Do a chain stitch, and then into this chain 1 space here, we do 3 double crochets. 2, and 3. Chain 1. And then we do 2 clusters in this corner here, separated by 2 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, chain 1, because we're going back down the other side here. So into the space with 3 double crochets, separated by a chain 1 space here, of course. So this is very, very similar to doing a typical granny stitch, except we are going in triangular formation, if you will. So I chain 1 again, and then into this space down here is where we're going to do our next 3 double crochets. Okay, then we chain 1 again. Then we need to skip 3 more stitches. So we are in, as before, got the stitch right here is where we're in last. So 1, 2, that chain stitch counts as 1, and then 3. So it's the first stitch there. So we get into there, and we do a slip stitch, and then we chain 2. And because we have reached the end of the road here, see, on this triangle here, I only did 2 rounds, if you will, and this is going to be the second round on this corner here. Now, because you actually connect the pieces, and I will show you how that is done. I know it sounds a little confusing, but it'll make more sense in the long run. Trust me, I've never steered you wrong yet, right? All right, so now, all right, actually, let me see, how many chains did I do? Because we're actually going to need to do 3. We only did 2. All right, when we reach the end of the row, the end of the line, so to speak, we actually chain up 3, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, okay? Then we turn our work. And we do 2 more double crochets into that space again, right down in here. That chain 3 counts as a double crochet. And we chain 1 into the next chain 1 space. We do 3 double crochets. Yeah, and I know that it seems a little odd how it is not connected, but it shall be. You know, like I said, it will make sense. You know, when you reach the last row of your corner piece, you end up actually connecting them all together, and that way you end up with a square in the end. All right, so just continuing right along as, you know, in any typical granny fashion, it's 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1. Into the corner, it's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. You know, I really do hope that this is making sense. You know, this really is a very, very, very simple pattern, but it makes all the more sense if you are fluent with making grannies, which are, in my opinion, a wonderful staple. See, we've got our chain 2 in the corner here, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Need some more yarn. Yes, I do. Okay. Sorry about that. Always need more yarn. Okay, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Okay, chain 1, and then into this space here, 3 double crochets. Okay, now see, we have here one of our pre-existing corners that has not been connected yet. All right, so because I did my 3 double crochets, finish with a chain 1, then to connect them together, we're not going to bother with this previous bit down here yet, okay? Emphasis on the word yet. Now, the reason why we did a chain up of 3 when we started our secondary row is because we're actually going to want to do a slip stitch into that third chain, okay, and do a slip stitch connecting them together. Okay, and then we cut our yarn, snip, snip, pull that, and there we go. Nice and connected. Orange to orange. Now I'm going to have to do this same thing over here. Now, what I had actually done was I already pulled out the yarn so that it would not come unraveled. So Ironically, I'm doing just that right now, but that's okay. If I've redone one stitch in my time, I have redone plenty. All right, so chain one, and then we do a slip stitch connecting these two together. Yes, indeed. Okay, then we connect these. Come on. All right, very good. So now, as you can see, when we turn it correct side facing, we have a square that totally works. Now, I'm going to pick another color, and I'm going to show you what to do next. Alrighty. Okie dokie pokies. So, now what I always like to do is I like to start in the corner. Don't ask me why, I just do. And so I have my fresh color of yarn here, and we start in the corner by pulling up our yarn and chaining up of 3, and do, well, that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we do 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and then in that same corner stitch space, another cluster of 3 double crochets. Yes, indeed. Okay, so we've got our 2 clusters. Chain 1, 3 double crochets. So for this round and the following round, it's pretty generic, basic, granny stitching going on, with the exception of where these meet, and I will show you what to do. It'll make total sense and it'll look fabulous. All right, so we're continuing right along with our 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. It's one of those things, you do it enough, you can do it in your sleep. Also, I cannot stress enough that when you are doing this project, that it will behoove you, believe you me, it will behoove you to sew in your ends as you progress along. Otherwise, you will go crazy, okay? Also, another thing while we're here and while we're at it, all of these ends, okay? I have some projects in mind that you are going to need lots and lots of scraps. So, save them. Yes, I know being a pack rat is, well, not so glam, but I have a couple of really great scrap yarn project ideas that I would like to show you in future videos. So this project is a great way to build up some of those scraps. So just, giving you the heads up, okay? All right, so now we have reached our center here, okay? Now this is where it really comes together. Now, gonna chain 1. Now, to bring this together, okay, so we have our corner of the pre-existing square, and then we have these 2 corners that came together, and we are going to make them one. All right, so again, you want to make sure that this proverbial orange yarn is a bit taut, okay? And we are going to go not just underneath the orange, but also through the corner of the blue, doing stitches through them together to unite them. So it's still another cluster, it's just going through here and here underneath, okay, with another cluster. And it sort of anchors it. And then chain 1, and then 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Now, when I am doing these rounds, I like to do a total of 2 rounds so that I can jump right into using my next color. See, what I was talking about before, how you need an even number, as you can see, there's a stitch right here, okay? Obviously, I can't stitch into it, so I need to do another round. After I finish this round, I need to do another round so that there is a space right in the center here so that I can continue to make these corner pieces, okay? So what I'm going to do off camera right now is I'm going to finish this round here, and then I'm going to do another round, and then I will show you how to start in with the next corner, okay? So again, going to go around, and then when I reach this center space here, it's just, again, just doing a normal cluster. Just be sure to capture not just up here, but down here as well. Capture them together, like we did right over here, okay? Makes it nice and pretty. All right, I will see you shortly. Keep stitching. Okay, so I've been crocheting for a bit. I cheated. I didn't do the entire round, but, just enough so that you could see that, yes, you do need to do an even number of rounds because you need to have a space here, as I intimated before. All right, so then once you have your 2 rounds done, or any even number, you could do 4 rounds, etc. You grab yet another strand of yarn, and you would go over, not counting the chain stitch here in the middle, but you would go over 1, 2, 3 stitches to the right, and pull up your yarn, do a chain 1, single crochet into that same stitch, and do 3 double crochets. Oops. Ooh, snaggage. Okay. 2 and 3. Chain 2. And then 3 double crochets. Now, technically speaking, when you are doing this, you do not have to adhere to doing like we did in previous, in these previous corners here, where I did, 2 rows of white, then 2 of orange. You can do more or less. However, I like to do at least 2 because then it gives me, some sort of, stability, a sense of stability with that. You could do 3, you could do 4. Pardon me. Still getting over a cold. However, the important thing is that you stop when you reach the corner up here. That's the important thing. You can do, however many. I mean, like I said, you don't even have to change the color of the yarn here. You could just keep going until you reach, a full corner. So at any rate, I do think that pretty much covers the gist of, how to do these. Now, of course, you could do one really large square, as you saw in the intro. You could do one really large square to make a nice throw-sized blanket, or you could do a whole bunch of smaller squares and create a really elaborate kaleidoscopic mosaic, you know, crazy patchwork of sorts. You can really do whatever it is that you want. For the blanket that I showed in the intro, I actually needed approximately 12 skeins. Okay, I did need a lot. I didn't use all of it by any means, but in order to ensure that I had enough, I used uh, six different colors, but I got 2 skeins of each. And it did ensure that I had enough yarn, just to give you a rough ballpark as to what I personally needed. So listen, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that it made sense. If you have any questions, by all means, I'm all ears. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it inspires you to make one of your own, because these are so easy. They really, really are. Just remember, it is increments of 3 stitches. Skipping 3, and then when you go back, you skip 3 and go into that 3rd stitch. When you keep that in mind, it makes the process so much easier, because you can't just go directly into the chain 1 spaces willy-nilly. It won't work, trust me. So listen, I hope that tutorial helps. And until next time, keep inspired, keep caffeinated, and keep stitching. You have a great, great day, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.